always gaslit. She's always full of rage to bait us. Get those views and rage quit when you're caught in your own lies. Rosie, it's time to stop it. Time to clean up your own way. But since you are artistic, diagnosed in your own way, I guess without a doctor, you don't gotta listen to what we say. Please go to your feet, the boyfriend. Why you give Levi?
Giving Levi his space is supposed to be the end. Hello guys, how you doing today? How are your fur babies? How's your mom, your dad, your brother, your sister? How are everyone's families? I hope everybody's doing well. I hope you guys are staying safe. I've been saying my prayers for all of the innocent people involved in this war and everything like that. I pray for our world leaders to finally make some good decisions. I pray for everybody, all of you that are out there suffering, that you might need a good prayer. Put it in the comments. I will do whatever I can. I try to stay good on my prayers every single day because of all of this going on. At the end of the day, if we don't got prayer, what else do we have? You know what I'm saying? So I try my best, but I just want you to know that I'm thinking about you all, okay? All the time, whenever I can, possible. Now, let's try to clean our palate here with something more positive, okay? You know what I'm saying? Become a member today if you would like your own shout out in a video, or to see a video a day, Allie, with no ads, okay? So, member of the video, bitch. Ooh, it's ironic cause you're 183, cause she's my bitch, and I really love her. Yes. Okay. So, here's a little palate cleanser, two of my fur babies. My Bubba is my beagle, and then I got Mew Mew, who is my cat. Okay? Enjoy their sweet, cute faces for a second, if you wouldn't mind.
Oh, my booba, my kitty. I love this sweet boy, and I love my other sweet boy. Mommy's the babies, the loves of my life. Mommy's the babies, the greatest gifts in my life. We are a happy family. Mommy, daddy, and two hairy babies today.
Today we're going to do another GORLWORLD class. I'm Professor Baby Gail. And we're going to continue on with QuirkyLoveRosee, right? Because I'm not going to start the law of anybody else until I get you through most of the law about this bitch, okay? So I'm really trying my best to teach my audience the ins and the outs of her, okay? We call it GORLWORLD. Now, like I stated in my last video about her, we all know that GORLWORLD is said with an O because the bitches are round, okay? All of them. QuirkyLoveRosee, Foodie, Amberlynn, round. All of them, okay? And the short. I don't know about Quirky. I think she might be a little bit taller, but like Amberlynn and Foodie, they're short as hell, and they're just as round as they are tall. Now, I want to talk about this conflict that she had with another creator that goes by the name Planet with a Palette on YouTube. Okay, her name is Rain, and her and QuirkyLoveRosee were friends for about 6 months. And Rain had to end this friendship, though, because of her own mental health, which is understandable. If you've got to end a relationship or set boundaries with somebody, that's fine. You should have every right to do that, right? But not according to Quirky, as you might have already figured out. So the reason that I'm bringing this up is because I just want you guys to understand QuirkyLoveRosee's character and why we criticize her, right? There's also another conflict I'll bring up to you guys in a later video about her actually kicking a 70-something-year-old woman out of her car because the woman wouldn't pay her $15 a ride when she was literally on Quirky's way home from work. At that time, she was traveling outside of the home for work. And the fact that she did this to this woman is part of the main reasons I decided to start reacting to her, because I said that is just so disgusting and so vile that this woman has got to be a narcissist. And to say the least, she is. Now, this story will also prove that, okay? Now, the planet with a palette, her name is Rain, like I said. Now, this lady is very well-spoken, clear-minded. I mean, what she says is you can't really hold anything against her at all in this situation, because she's literally trying to do everything right. And I only know because I also would be watching QuirkyLoveRosee, and then the contrast of the two different people and other people's accounts of the situation have proven to me that this bitch is telling the truth about Quirky. So Rain decided to set boundaries. Like I said, she decided to end their friendship because Quirky was just very mentally unstable. And Rain is also, got mental illness. But hers is controlled by medication and therapy. Whereas QuirkyLoveRosee, we all know, doesn't do that. Just like Amberlynn, medication and therapy, that is blasphemous to them. How dare you suggest this? And we also criticize Quirky for having an Amazon wish list, because literally, like, her fans have bought literally almost everything on that list for her. And she always promotes it, but talks about how she's against capitalism. Hello? Even if you didn't know what your friend's boundaries were, you should be able to hear her out, right? When she brought up the fact that you were overstepping her boundaries and that she couldn't have you as a friend anymore, your response shouldn't have been anger. It should have been, oh, well, if I'm doing those things, how can I stop doing those things to help my friend be my friend still? Nope, not Rosie. And QuirkyLoveRosee is very much like Amberlynn and the rest of the girls, where if the attention isn't on her 24/7, she will do something, say something, whatever it might take for attention to be back on her. It's really ridiculous. She was not an adult about this situation. She literally brought this woman's underage children into the situation on 18-plus-year-old platforms. But we'll get there. I mean, if she was, like I said, if she was an adult about this situation, it totally could have saved their friendship, I think. But there's just no turning back now. Absolutely not. Especially for somebody you were only friends with for 6 months, Yeah, Rosie decided that instead she would get hurt feelings and she would start doing things to hurt her friend publicly online, like doxing her. Even though she says, I didn't do it on purpose. Well, whether you did it on purpose or not, you doxed her. And that's not okay. She started this whole hate campaign against Rain. I mean, it was insane. And it went on, not for just days, not for just months, years. Stupid shit, right?
How do I do that? Let me find you. View request. Okay, I got you. Here we go.
Hello.
Hello. So Rosie was here. Rosie was one of my wedding attendants and looked absolutely beautiful. Yes. Got these really pretty crystal headbands for all my wedding attendants. And so they all had matching headbands. It was so cute. And matching dresses that I bought them. Had so much love. It was a very loving and happy day. How's that? Hi. Here we go.
Okay, my phone was acting funny. Hello. Okay, I do want to let you know, if I suddenly act very startled and disconnect from the live, it's because I got a call. But I haven't gotten one in almost an hour and a half. So, hopefully in the future, I'll saying that out loud.
So, I do want to address something today, sadly, that I do have to address. Rosie Jean, who was in an episode with me, and I are no longer friends. I ended the friendship. She was very sore about it. Some things have transpired since then, and it's become a whole Instagram drama. I'm not here for the drama, really. It's not my jam. I'm a little too old and tame for that. I just want to garden and eat good food and have a happy life. I'm going to post a link in my community tab to my response to the drama. that's all I'm going to really say about it. Yeah, I responded on my Instagram story, but I do know that sometimes a response that isn't permanent has its way of like not everyone getting to see it. And I don't know how long she's going to continue to launch her Instagram attack of me and Ivy, but you guys are welcome to watch my response. Again, look at my community tab and I will post a link. Some people are just not really as cool as you once thought they were. I'll leave it at that.
So, and I totally believe that today, the reason why Rosie does her riding around the kitchen and putting indents into the floor with her new office chair that her audience bought her is because of Rain. She took over the idea that Rain had for Planet with a Palette, and she can't stand the fact that Rain was getting more viewership and attention on her channel than she was. Well, considered the source, we have the choice of a woman who is clear-minded and not hateful and spiteful and nice and all those things and funny all in one. We could watch her or we could watch you, Rosie. What do you think people are going to choose? Rain's oldest son never liked Rosie at all, but Rosie claimed that he confided in her and told her that he was uncomfortable editing his mom's YouTube videos, even though his mom was paying him. It was totally his choice. And then when she couldn't get people to, be hateful towards Rain off of that information, she then decided to say that Rain was actually having her 16-year-old son at the time edit her videos for her fetish community. And that is so not fucking true. That's so disgusting for her to even accuse anyone of, that I totally agree with Rain in her decision to defend herself in any way, shape, or form against Rosie and her nasty mouth. Rosie and Rain were friends, like I said, for 6 months. And I think that Rosie kind of went into a narcissistic rage. And that's why Rosie was so attacking towards Rain. Rain, she didn't push back or didn't shut down. She doubled down and continued to act like an adult and continued to just ask that people, if they hear of her doxing or anything like that, to report the video, all these things. She was not trying to further the fight. She just wanted to be able to defend herself, which she has every right to do when someone's literally online bashing her like Rosie was. But Rosie's such a coward, mind you, that she erased all of these videos and Insta stories and stuff like that against Rain.
Hey y'all, I want to respond to some dramatic things that are happening on Instagram right now. Basically, maybe about a week and a half ago or something, I decided to no longer be friends with Rosie. There's a lot of reasons why, which I really, even though she's lying about me all over Instagram right now, I honestly find this all very dramatic and frustrating. I don't really have time or energy for this. I want to respond to some of it because just to explain what's happened. Basically, in the time that I was friends with Rosie, I'm not going to go into deep details because I honestly think it would just be mean-spirited towards her, and I have no reason for that. I found a lot of her behavior questionable and immature, and, I did, when we were friends, ask her repeatedly to maybe see a counselor, get some help, which she said that she did do, which I'm proud of her for. But basically just she was giving me a lot of anxiety when we would hang out because of certain behaviors, which she's claiming is me like not accepting that she's failing because of autism, I guess, in her story, which is very silly because some of the people that I'm closest to in this life are on the spectrum, including both of my sons and my best friend. But it's not that. And when I had a friend break up with Rosie, I said, hey, I'm a really big fan of amicable breakups, and sometimes, a person's a perfectly nice person, but just not a person for you. I also apologized for hurting her when I broke off our friendship because I knew it would hurt her feelings, and it did, and she was very upset and immediately started saying some very mean and untrue things towards me, like our friendship was always one-sided and all these kind of things. One of the things she's pointed out on her story is that I accepted gifts from her during the time we were friends. She did give me 2 very extravagant gifts, and if you go back on my story here, you'll see that I credited her for one of them publicly and thanked her for the wonderful pots and pans that she gave me. That was very, very sweet and kind. And again, a person can do sweet and kind things and still not be someone that you want to continue to have a relationship with. And I was having a problem with Rosie taking accountability for some of her behaviors that were hurtful towards me while we were friends. So I ended the friendship. She was having some mental health episodes in front of me repeatedly, and it was a little triggering for me because I do have PTSD, and I don't think that makes her a bad person by any stretch of the imagination, because we both have mental health issues, but it was just a lot for me to carry. Also, she said some extremely hurtful and alienating things towards my son, my older son. There was a lot of drama. A lot of my friends did not want me to invite her to events but she would always get insulted if she wasn't invited anywhere I was going, because other people didn't enjoy being around her sort of attention-seeking behavior. And it sucked. Like, the whole situation sucked because I wanted to stay friends with her, but at some point it just became evident that I could not. What happened that started all this drama where she's now having a public meltdown and lying about me and about my best friend, who's never done anything but nice things for her. She's claiming that my best friend used her for money when in fact she was paid more than most models' hourly rate to do one scene. She's claiming that I mistreated her in my home, which she told me many times regularly that she was more comfortable in my house than her own house, and that's why she always wanted to be here while we were friends. So if any of this were true, it would reflect, but I feel like it's pretty easy to poke holes in the lies that are happening here. Basically, she took a picture with my mobility device, my cane, a while ago when she was here. She posted it on Instagram talking about how she has mobility issues and uses a cane. It did really bother me because I've literally never seen her use a cane in 6 months. In fact, several times when I have mentioned to her that she should borrow my cane or maybe use my scooter for something, when it looked like she was struggling, she has reminded me that she's more able-bodied than me repeatedly, and also said several ableist things that I've heard her say and that other people around me have heard her say and were not a fan of, and has refused the use of a mobility device. Then sought the opportunity to attention seek using my mobility device, which I did not enjoy because I don't get to pick and choose when I'm disabled for just attention, and I get a lot of attention for being disabled, and it's negative attention mostly, and it's not something that I can help. I'm literally just on a video trying to cook a meal, and people are like, why are you sitting? Why are you whatever? So I don't like what happened, but I was gonna let it go. But then recently she was on Twitter and posted an article in the Daily Mail about her, and I clicked on it because it had the photo of her with my cane. It was disappointing, to say the least. In the article, she was talking about being disabled and using a mobility device. I don't know, it rubbed me the wrong way because here we are again using this same photo with my mobility aid to get some sort of a cloud or something for being disabled. I don't know. It just struck me the wrong way. I really didn't like it. And so I would have messaged her privately had we still been in contact, but she kind of freaked out a bit whenever I said I didn't want to be friends anymore and blocked me on like most social media. So I didn't. Instead, I responded directly to the post on Twitter. I called her out because I didn't feel it was appropriate. And a mature emotional response would have been to, I don't know, apologize for doing something questionable and hurtful to somebody, or even explain, hey, I realized when posing with your cane that I should be more honest about my own mobility issues, and that was a real big breakthrough for me, and I would have been like, hey, we love to see it, good for personal growth. But instead her immediate response was to issue a threat to air all of our personal business, which what the threat really apparently seemed to be was to go on social media and start to amass a big story full of lies. I'm disappointed. I'm frustrated. I've been blocked from Instagram, so I can't actually see the story or defend myself. What I will say is that I've been in the industry that this all started, that the post started on and everything, for like 2 decades. I've had some beef with some people. Not everybody you meet in this industry is a nice person. But none of it's ever been aired publicly before. This is literally my first Twitter, social media, dramatic, whatever. I'm pretty sure she was having a beef with someone last week over the content that they created. Someone who is someone who's been doing this a lot longer than her. I don't know. She's just very dramatic, and this is all very unnecessary. And it's, you know, a lot of untrue things are being said about me. So I guess in conclusion, I hope that everyone who sees Rosie's story will, look at it objectively and also understand that this is the response of someone who is emotionally unwell, sadly, and who really is angry right now for being asked to be accountable for something questionable that they did. And I would like for y'all to look at me and form your own opinions of me without that filter of dishonesty. But, at the end of the day, I feel like people's behavior towards others really does reflect back upon them. And so I just ask that you would form your own opinions based on my behavior and not on the words of someone else. It's hurtful that so many things are being said that are untrue. I mean, I definitely never mistreated Rosie. I really did try to be a good friend to Rosie in the time that we were friends. So I'm disappointed with how all of this has gone, and so I'm just going to try to move on from this, and this is going to be the last thing I really say about it. Sorry, I did say it was the last thing I was going to say, but there was one more thing that I wanted to point out just to kind of poke a hole in the lies. Her response about the news story is that the article was written without her consent or knowledge. I find that impossible to believe because there are direct quotes from her throughout the article, including ones about her mobility and use of a mobility aid. And she posted it on Twitter. I don't know about you, but if I had an article that was written about me that I did not consent to or know about and that was directly quoting me and those quotes were untrue, I would not go and post it on Twitter excitedly. I would probably post it and be like, hey, I never said any of it.
Because that's what you do when you believe something to be true. You take it offline. Right. Okay. Because Rosie was online trying to talk badly about Rain, and Rain was like, look, this is what's happening. This is me defending myself. I'm not trying to engage in this drama, but this is what's going on. This is why she's saying this, blah, blah, blah.
And Rain got upset with her because she took this picture. And Rain said that she has never, whenever they've been together or anything else, she has never needed a cane.
On this platform tonight because, from my understanding, Rosie is continuing to say some things about me, and her lies are getting more severe. And the things that she is vaguely seems to be possibly accusing me of now are really horrendous. What's actually happening here is that I called her out on some behavior that I found questionable about her shooting some pictures with my cane and using that to talk about how she's disabled and uses a cane, which I've never seen her do. And I called her out where she posted this. And since that point, she has repeatedly threatened me in her story and is sort of amassing a huge campaign of lies about me. Some of the most recent things that I've heard are very alarming and upsetting. I don't know what exactly is being said because I cannot see her Instagram. I'm just hearing people coming to me because they're hearing things about me that don't sound like me, and they're not. This person is launching a huge lying, false, fabricated story about me. I'm pretty upset about it because the things that are being said are really, they're not actually outright being said, which is the funny thing too, because she wouldn't actually outright say them because she knows they're not true. She's vaguely alluding to things to try to make me look bad, which is gross, and especially considering the things that she is alluding to. So I'm just gonna say that I have nothing to do with Rosie Jean anymore, and whatever lies she continues to tell about me, if this attack continues, there will be repercussions, because at this point she is outright lying about my character, and it's defamation. I have someone saying a lot of heinous things about me right now that are untrue publicly, and so that's pretty gross. But other than that, I'm trying to hang in there and just be the more mature, responsible person about this situation, because this has just gone way too far at this point. And the people will see the truth based on people's behavior. So it's really sad, man. Like, I thought I made a new friend, and the more I hung out with her, the more I realized that, like, maybe she wasn't the right person for me. There was a lot of drama and a lot of emotional episodes and just a lot of things that, you know, and I genuinely kept defending her because a lot of my other friends and stuff didn't really like her. And I genuinely kept being like, you know, well, she's a really kind person. She's really nice. And like, you just need to get to know her. And, you know, the thing is, I can't defend her anymore because she's not really a nice person, and she's really saying horrible things. And the things that I've been told today that she is alluding to about me are honestly disgusting and untrue. And fabricating those type of lies about people is like really, really bad. That is reprehensible behavior, legally reprehensible behavior. So we'll see what happens. Hopefully, I'm hoping what will happen is that she'll just calm down soon and quit saying lies. But I mean, honestly, like, I can't really control someone else's behavior. So Rosie's gonna Rosie, I guess. And you know, I think that anybody who's been watching her story over the last couple of days can see that she's been escalating and de-escalating herself in and out. And she's clearly having like a very emotional time right now. And it's all because I called her out over one thing. Like, everything else that I've said since that point has only been a response to the lies that she's been telling. So, you know, I'm trying to do my best to ignore it, but it's not really working because she keeps escalating and telling more, you know, fabricated things, and they're getting worse and worse and worse. I think she's like maybe not getting the full response she wants, and she's trying to like cancel me or something. That's kind of what it feels like. Like, she's going for the jugular. So I don't know. That seems very dramatic to me, just because I don't want to be friends anymore. I hope so. Good Lord, she's been at it for like 2 full days at this point. Unfortunately, I mean, obviously I didn't know she was unstable when I let her into my life. I have a tendency to really see the good in people. I want to be friends with everybody. And that's just how I've always been. And just not everybody's someone you should be friends with. And I guess I'm learning that the hard way here. So, yeah, some of the stuff that she is saying about me is just like wildly untrue accusations. And they're pretty vague because she knows it's BS. So it's, you know, whatever. I mean, it doesn't really make me question myself. You know, like, I know who I am. I know that, you know, this is a bunch of nonsense. It concerns me that other people will believe any of it. But also at the same time, it's like, I know how very not true it is. So I don't know. I feel like in situations like this, it really only takes like a little bit of clarity to like look through and see who is the one behaving with abusive behavior. She has launched several threats towards me, both vague and not vague, since this started, and been saying things like, oh, well, I'm just having to think about what my next step is going to be. I don't want to ring any bells. I can't unring. And these are all threats. And so she's just been sitting up there cooking up some heinous stories and coming up with like what lies she thinks are going to hurt me the most. And it's like, honestly, like, why is she putting that much energy into it? Like, I've never really experienced anything quite like this before. So it's new for me, and I'm just trying to, thank you. I tried to do my best. I mean, that response was painful to even say, because it was just like, oh my gosh, like, what is even happening right now? She did hurt her knee on my couch. She absolutely did hurt her knee on my couch. It wasn't like she hurt it on the couch. Like, she literally got up off the couch, and the act of standing up off my couch, she hurt her knee, because my couch is low to the ground because I am short. So that's true. That part is true. She did hurt her knee on my couch. I mean, like, I have no reason to lie. She's telling crazy lies, but I have no reason for any of that, because it's just like, it's whatever. Like, we were friends for a while. She also went and took screenshots of my Facebook, me showing that I was her friend and that I said that she was a good friend. Yes. All people's opinions can change. Clearly, since you are dragging me across the internet and lying about me, my opinion of you has changed. It is weird that she screen grabbed my private Facebook. She did apparently blot my name out, because I was like, my first thought was like, oh God, is she doxing me right now? But, yeah, sorry. I was actually looking at, people have been sending me screenshots and things of like what is being said about me and stuff. So it's funny. Apparently she's saying that she misses Arthur, which I don't doubt. Arthur's adorable. He's wonderful. But she also is literally dragging his parent across the internet in mud right now that doesn't even belong to them. So like, what does she expect? Like, does she think that she's going to continue to have a relationship with my child while she's abusing me? Not gonna happen. I don't know. It's all wild what's happening, honestly. It's messy. and I really wish that it would stop, but I'm sure it will eventually. She's going to tire herself out. Yesterday I was listening, someone had sent me some stuff that she was saying, and she's in her 30s, but okay, this is a lot. I mean, she's giving out a lot of personal information about me, but she's in her 30s. Yes. She does not act like she's in her 30s. She's told me, several times that part of that is because she wasn't socialized the same, because she, like her family's Mormon and stuff. I don't know, like, she's old enough to know better. The thing is, I don't, I understand that she has trauma, she has backstory, we all do. Mistreating people, really throwing people in the mud and in the dirt just because they called you out on one bad behavior, which she could have responded to. She could have been like, hey, I don't agree with this, whatever, but she literally has been plotting against me ever since. She immediately issued a threat towards me. So, it is, I really would love to talk about anything else, honestly. It's just that it keeps coming up, so, Oh yeah, she was in we did an episode together. I want to say it was episode 6. Chicken. We did chicken, and she made butter noodles. And we did an episode together, A Planet with a Palette. And then she was also in the wedding episode. That was a whole interesting thing too, because at one point, I tried to uninvite her to my wedding because of the type of behavior that I was seeing from her. And and I really wasn't having that many people physically at my wedding. Everybody was joining via Zoom. She got very disappointed, very upset. So I invited her back to the wedding. Yeah, I don't know. The whole friendship just was it's a lot of drama, honestly. And the funny thing is, everyone who's been around Rosie, all of my camp who's been around Rosie, other than Arthur. Arthur does love Rosie, but Arthur loves everybody. But he's a loving child. But pretty much, well, yeah, can you imagine if I was dealing with all of this on my wedding day because she was upset or had her feelings hurt? Yeah. I mean, I kind of feel like she's coming off that way as being unhinged on her own. And a lot of what she's been talking about, and I don't want to go too deep because I'm not trying to hurt her, but she's coming for me. And a lot of what she's talking about, saying that I gaslit her about her mental health, I literally didn't. I just asked her to get some help because she was having regular episodes in front of me. I don't know what kind of episodes to call them. I'm not a psychiatrist. That is not my thing. I genuinely was asking her to get help because I genuinely believe she needs it. And me deciding not to be friends anymore, I felt bad because I knew it was going to hurt her feelings. And that was never my intention to hurt her feelings. Up until this moment, I actually thought that she was a perfectly nice and reasonable person. I just thought that she had a lot of issues and that I wasn't equipped to handle them. And that was kind of she does live very close to me, but that was towards the beginning of our friendship. And we were spending a lot of time together, getting to know each other. It was pretty clear early on that she had a lot of problems, but you know what? I'm not even trying to be hey, this person's mentally ill. I also have mental illness. I'm in treatment. I'm in therapy. I'm on meds. I do the things that I need to do to, 6 months. We were friends for 6 months. Yeah. And I've never had a friendship end this dramatically. And that's saying a lot because, I've had a lot of friends over the years and this is really new, new levels. So she's been mentioning me in her stream constantly for 48 hours. A lot of what I'm saying is only a response to the things that she's been saying about me. Yeah, I'm not faulting anyone for having mental illness, but I also don't have to engage with people whose behavior is triggering. Been continuing her attack of me, and now Rosie Jean, aka at Fat Rose Phoenix, has been continuing her attack of me, and now she is literally bringing my children into the mix. This has gotten really out of hand. She's saying some things that aren't true. She's saying that she had a private conversation with one of my sons where he said he was uncomfortable editing my YouTube videos. I would like to make it clear that my son is no longer editing my YouTube videos. He started editing my YouTube videos to show me how to properly edit a YouTube video, and also he was being paid at that time because he wasn't working. As far as him moderating my comments, that was a choice that he made to do, and he has never expressed to me that he's uncomfortable doing so. She is honestly just attacking every aspect of me, my personality, who I am. She's lying left and right about me. Honestly, this is just more adding to the mix. At this point, she has doxed me when she posted photos of my Facebook, my private Facebook, where my name wasn't completely crossed out. And now she's bringing my children into the argument and trying to make it look like I'm an unfit parent, which is beyond hurtful and really horrible to try to weaponize my own children against me. I don't even know how to respond at this point because I'm just completely under attack. I feel like she's showing herself to be unstable, as a lot of people have reached out to me explaining to me that that her feed actually scared them because of the way that she was violently acting towards me. She's been plotting against me this whole time. She's outright said, I don't know what my next step is going to be. And her next step is to come up with whatever next lie she thinks is going to hurt me the most. Involving my children, that is low. I spoke to my son. He said he never had that conversation with her. You know, if my son was uncomfortable helping me with my YouTube channel, he would let me know. He was doing it, but he was getting paid actually to help me with my YouTube channel. And the reason that I used him as a resource is because he's very good at YouTube and he wanted to help me make my channel successful. And he has, and he's been very helpful. He gets paid when he does help me with things on Planet with a Palette because his expertise on editing and things like that are valuable and he deserves to be paid. I actually am a really good parent, and I'm not perfect by any stretch of the imagination, but if he was uncomfortable with that, I'm sure he would let me know. He certainly never said that to her. I think that her motive is to try to cancel me, honestly, at this point. I think she's very angry because I called her out on some behavior that I found questionable, and I think that she just sort of spiraled out of control from that point. It seems to me like she's having some kind of a emotional episode, as this has been going on for 3 days. She doesn't like being held accountable, but furthermore, we could have been past this by now. Like, I really am not trying to start a war. Everything that I've said at this point has only been responding to the lies that she has been saying about me. She has done this to a lot of people. Well, that's pretty horrible. I wasn't aware of that, and I certainly wish I had been. You know, when I decided to no longer be friends with Rosie a couple weeks ago, I just felt like she's a bit immature and emotionally needy, and I just felt like it wasn't in my best interest to stay friends, which is why I really did try to end the friendship amicably. Thank you. That's my son speaking out and telling you guys that that's not true. I really didn't want him to be involved in any of this. She misgendered you on her stories? Ugh. She also misgendered me on her stories. The thing is that she's just spiraling, and she's really grasping at straws. Now she's not only attacking me, but she's bringing my kids into it, which is honestly just horrific and upsetting. And to protect a minor, she sure can't keep my name out of her mouth. Does she say your name too? Yeah, this is really out of control. I have actually thought about filing a police report. Thank you for saying that. Honestly, he shouldn't be involved in this at all. And I'm really sorry that I allowed someone this unsafe into our lives. I genuinely thought she was a good person. So I guess, you know, a lot of times I'm getting upset. Sometimes I'm way too trusting of people, and I want to be friends with everybody. And not everybody is worth being a friend. And the fact that this person is now bringing my kids into this is honestly like the lowest that she could possibly go. I have been trying to disengage, but it's very hard because people are messaging me on Facebook because they found me because she literally put up my information. I don't want to engage, but I also feel the need to defend myself, especially when my parenting is being called into question and she's saying that I'm doing inappropriate things with my YouTube channel about my son. But he helped me with the first few episodes, and it was actually really nice for me because I got to spend some quality time with my son and also learn a lot because he knows a lot about YouTube. He's a very valuable resource and a good kid, and I really am just so sorry to him that she's involved him in this like this, and she is upsetting me. I mean, I wasn't at first but she just keeps taking it a step farther all the time, and it's now she's involving my children, so that's really too far. She's already doxed me. People know my private name now because she's posted it with a line through it that you can literally see. I'm so sorry, you guys. It's been 3 days of me continuing to get messages from people of support, but in every message I find out that something new and horrible has happened, that she said something new and horrible, and she's been making very vague statements that are lies, that alluding to me doing inappropriate things, and just none of it's true. The thing about my son, it's not true. Yeah, doxing is illegal, and the person who messaged me literally told me that I should reach out to my local law enforcement about it. I really never want to this level of intensity of like, I mean, she said at one point, like, oh, you threw the first punch, but I will throw the last. And I don't know what she even means by that, because when I think she's punched as hard as she can, like doxing me, then she comes back and starts trying to call my parenting into question and bringing my son into the mix. I really don't think that she's going to stop. This is not comical anymore. This is really disturbing and upsetting, and it is harassment.
But it's very sad that Rain even felt like she was compelled to have to go online and defend herself like that in the first fucking place. And like Quirky must have been embarrassed by her behavior or something like that, or she didn't want the backlash of it, because those videos are still to this day gone. We all were hoping, and Rain was hoping, everybody's hoping that Rosie would just stop, right? That this wouldn't keep on continuing. But Rosie, nope, she's a fighter. She kept on going. Even still to this day, Rosie will bring shit up about their friendship. And the friendship ended in 2023.
Hi everybody. So I just wanted to give a quick update about what's going on. In the last 24 hours, Rosie Jean has taken to 2 different 18 plus platforms. One being a community that we're both part of, a forum that we're both part of, the other being her Not Safe for Work Twitter. And on both of those platforms, she has mentioned my children. She also made a post on the 18 plus platform where she said something about me accusing her of doxing when she had shared a censored picture. So for everyone who doesn't know what happened, she took a screenshot from my Facebook, I guess to prove we were once friends. I don't know. But when she took that screenshot from my private Facebook, she did put a line through my name. However, the line was opaque. People began to find me on Facebook. So that is doxing. What I do think happened is that she is so angry and she's unraveling and attacking me so hard that she wasn't paying attention to what she was doing. And she said at one point in this, when she was issuing out a lot of threats, that, well, I've got to figure out what my next step is going to be. And she keeps saying things like that, and then she was like, I don't want to ring any bells that I can't unring. But at this point she has, because she's doxed me. Whether it was intentional or not, she still did. She's misgendered me. She's misgendered my son. She's brought my kids into this, and she's posted about my children on 2 18 plus platforms. It really does say what kind of person she is. A couple weeks ago, when I broke off our friendship, I knew that being around her was affecting my mental health in a negative way, but I still thought she was a good person. I told her as much when I broke off the friendship. I did call her out about one thing on Twitter that I thought was questionable. I don't even care about that anymore. It's really gone so far beyond that at this point. I only engaged her on one Twitter post. She is the one who has brought this to multiple platforms. I never responded on Instagram until she brought it to Instagram. And in my response, I've genuinely just been asking her to stop harassing me, stop bringing my children into this. It's inappropriate. Stop harassing me. I really haven't attacked her. I don't feel. Mostly what I'm talking about is the behavior that she's distributing in her attack of me. Even she's been telling a lot of lies and kind of weaving a web of lies. And when, even in her post on this forum that we're both in, the post said, and I did take screenshots, it's been removed now, by the group who runs the forum, by the admin, because it was harassment. It was breaking their policies of harassment. She is doing it to get a reaction, and I understand what you're saying, and don't give her one, but I'm being harassed. I'm being harassed on multiple platforms on the internet. And I have PTSD. I don't talk about the reasons why I have PTSD a lot, but basically, I had a very severely abusive childhood, and I don't really care to get deep into that because it's my private stuff, but this has really triggered me. One of my 2 major triggers with my PTSD is feeling unsafe, and this has really triggered me into feeling unsafe.
I still believe that the reason Rosie Rain's content is, like I said, but I digress. So now we're going to react to some more of the posts by Rain, and then also Rain's son made a video against QuirkyLoveRosee because he felt like he had to do the same to fix his name online because of what Rosie was saying online about them.
And it's like, what lies? All I'm literally doing is reacting to what you're saying. Like, I'm not attacking her. She's doing a good enough job on her own showing who she is. Like, I don't even need to do that. But yeah, even in her statement, which got removed from the forum that we're both on, because it is an 18 plus forum, and she once again brought up my children and was really inappropriate. So I'm very glad that they removed that. She so dramatically went in right after that and was like, oh, I see this forum as snatching posts or something to that nature. And it was just like, yeah, because you violated the terms. You straight up violated the terms of harassment and trolling, and I went and read the terms before I reported her comment. And yeah, so anyways, I just wanted to update that. Yeah, she's now taken to talking about my kids openly on her Not Safe for Work Twitter, and of course, she's literally like, hey, look at me, I'm having a meltdown, I'm being victimized. She wants attention. And so of course someone's emoji was popcorn, and then the second person, their emoji or their thing that they wrote was, well, it's here now. You're trying to pretend that I'm the one spreading this around the internet, but it's actually you. You're trying to pretend that I'm the one that's attacking you, but all of that I keep saying is stop attacking me. It has been 4 days, yeah. And that was the funny thing too. She was like, I haven't consumed any of the media that Rain has said about me in the last last 72 hours. Well, the only thing that I've continually said in the last 72 hours is that I'm under attack and I want it to stop. That is it. And that's also not true. She has somehow consumed what I'm saying because she had the information that I was calling her out for doxing me. I know that I should just stop responding. Like, a lot of people have told me that, and it's like, but I feel like every time I do, I like take some time and walk away, and then I come back and there's like 5 more things, you know, like, yeah, that's the thing is I do feel like I'm in the right to respond because I don't have I don't want to allow this type of behavior to go unchecked. It's bad enough that it's happening, but I also think that people need to be aware of what is being said and how things are being handled across multiple platforms, because I think that it genuinely shows like that I am under attack and that someone is genuinely harassing me at this point. And I want to respond to that because I don't think it's appropriate. So from my understanding, from what a lot of people have said, is that this is a pretty normal behavior for her. A lot of people have come out of the woodworks and been like, listen, I've been on the end of one of these attacks from Rosie before, and like it's a pretty frequent thing with her. So it's like, you know, honestly, like if this is the type of harassing behavior that she continues to exhibit, then it's only a matter of time before she's going to end up having her platform taken away. And like, you really have to be careful when you're like, you know, calling out people, divulging people's personal information. Like, both my kids are pretty awesome, not gonna lie. Like, I really lucked out in the parent department. Like, they're just fantastic people. I love these people. I mean, I have such good experiences with most of the people that I've met over the years in the industry that I've been in, but like, it's just sometimes you think that you've made friends and it turns out that you've made frenemies. Yeah, I don't know. Not everybody's cool, I guess.
It's been a weird couple months and an intense couple weeks. Having your mental health and your disabilities exploited against you is a really intense experience. And having been victimized so much by exploitation in my life, I had a sense of rage that was so much deeper than a meaningless friendship that needed to never happen to begin with. But you know, it was the catalyst to an amount of self-growth that I didn't believe enough in myself to have. So in a way, I guess thanks for that. But at the end of the day, my energy's not shifted towards that ever. I have finally been diagnosed with major depressive disorder, second diagnosis of PTSD, and undiagnosed dissociative disorder because that requires further follow-up, as well as the autism. However, there has been psychiatric confirmation that my self-assessment is pretty valid. I am also, at least for the past 1 to 2 months, an untreated diabetic, which is why I needed the cane to help with my dizziness and my brain fog. Because carrying my weight on my body with the amount of symptoms and untreated mental health issues that I had was beyond the point of exhausting and depressing. I had a lot of self-deluded ideology. I wasn't delusional. In fact, my biggest fear was confronted. I have finally been diagnosed. I finally admitted that I had audio and visual hallucinations. With extensive psychiatric feedback, it was determined that they're non-psychotic, and the hallucinations are misplaced sensory audio processing. Before I was publicly attacked online about some really bizarre things, about either 2 or 12 hours before it happened, I have an undiagnosed sleeping disorder that's going to require a sleep study follow-up that I'm working towards with my PCP. I was saying, in the next couple months, I have a signed contract for a paid interview. And it was before this happened, so I want to make that so clear. I'll let you know when it happens. We'll see what it's about, because there's a lot of topics. I've lived a very fascinating life. I'm a fascinating person. I'm energetic. Fuck y'all! Oh, I got another screenshot to post! And I was processing a lot of anger. I was going through some stuff when I first got out of the hospital related to someone who was really incredibly abusive towards me and has made a lot of salacious lies and claims, including, you know, saying I was lying about being disabled because an article was written about me through the Daily Mail, representing me to be far more, I guess, vapid than I actually am, and that I was more disabled than I am. But, you know, I was really struggling with my mobility, and I was actually hiding a lot of it, and I was forcing myself and overworking myself based on, you know, how I was treated as a child and trauma related to my childhood. And I was struggling with some internalized ableism, and I was struggling to kind of figure out what was going on with me. I did not know so much of it was contributed to the untreated and undiagnosed diabetes that I had developed. I believe a part of these friendships where I, you know, with proof, like talking bad about me and pulling crap behind the scenes and using me. I was blocked because I was sent a text to cut off the friendship while I was literally throwing up in a trash can, and I was just not in the headspace to deal with the fake text that I was sent. There were so many lies and misrepresentations that happened. I don't even know how to get into it without resurging a really horrifically, disgustingly nasty human being into my life that I don't want. Sometimes I'm singing and, you know, look at me. I'm vibing, right? But sometimes I'm cussing under my fucking breath, just like wanting this to be over. Prior to me being attacked online, there was one person that actually knew the depth of my physical issues that I had never really talked about online out of shame. And that was the person that attacked me online, publicly, maliciously. unprovoked. It didn't matter because this person had, like 16 years in this industry. I mean, they're irrelevant now, and they're slowly fading out, and they're just such a fake and vapid person. They think that moving onto a mainstream platform for the money is going to help, replace those careers, but they're still using food to do it. So.
Hi, y'all. So I can't believe that I'm here having to address this again months later, but as soon as I started making more updates again on my Planet with a Palette YouTube.
That's just crazy to me. Why would you ever try to bring a minor into it? Just like in the situation with her old boyfriend, she was going on and on trying to get this young person to come out as gay, even though they didn't know if they were or not yet, but she was really pushing that narrative with them and calling them her stepchild when literally no. When it comes down to minors, mind your business. Why? I don't this narrative lately with people.
Just want my peace. She was acting wild around my kid. She was crying. She was screaming. She was honking the horn. She was throwing things around her car. She accidentally threw her phone out the window. Like she was in a bad mood and having a bad day, which I get. But her behavior was so erratic that when she went home, I told her I felt like maybe she was in a manic state. And she had told me that she had been previously diagnosed with bipolar disorder, but didn't believe it. So I was attempting to say to her that, she needed to seek therapy and that she needed to see a psychiatrist, and that just because what she was saying to me is that she thinks she was diagnosed with bipolar disorder and her family blamed everything on that, but that she didn't have bipolar disorder. She was only autistic and they didn't know the difference. And I told her that they're not mutually exclusive and that she should see a doctor. I told her that I could not diagnose her. I literally said those words. Clearly, I cannot diagnose you, but I think you need to see a doctor because something is wrong. Like, your behavior scared me. She's now calling me a narcissist, which is funny because she's blaming me for armchair diagnosing her, but narcissism is actually a disorder, and so she's armchair diagnosing me. The only reason that she is calling me a narcissist is because she knows that I suffered from narcissistic abuse in the past, and that it's something that really bothers me. And I think that she is calling me a narcissist in order to trigger me. She knows way too much about me personally, and that is a problem because she will use anything that she knows to create some sort of lie version of it that can do the most harm. She's a very harmful person. She is a very abusive person. And I have no problem saying that because she is still abusing me on YouTube. In fact, all of my responses about her and all of the things that I have said about her have only come up and come out because I am defending myself against her abuse. So she is still telling lies about me on YouTube. Now she's made a whole video. I think she baited me into this, if you want to know the truth, because I came back with my Planet with a Palette and I'm trying to do a weekly update again. Someone came onto my Planet with a Palette on the part where I said, I'm taking questions for a Q&A, and said, do you know QuirkyLoveRosee? I felt like it might have been baiting me, and I shouldn't have responded. I should have just left that question hanging.
QuirkyLoveRosee likes to claim that she's got agoraphobia, and if you don't know what that is a mental illness where people don't like leaving their home to the point where they'll have severe anxiety attacks. I have family that has it before they can even get to the front door thinking about leaving the house. QuirkyLoveRosee, what I believe she deals with is called social anxiety, but I digress because she thinks she's got every fucking mental disorder out there, just like fucking Amberlynn, and she'll run with it, and then you never see an actual diagnosis. Just like she's been trying for a very long time to be diagnosed as autistic. She's literally not autistic. 3 specialists have told her you are literally not autistic, but she's doubling down on the fact that yes, she is. Much like Amberlynn, right? She's very much like Amberlynn. She doesn't like to be associated with that or associated with GORLWORLD, like I've explained before, but too late. Careful what you wish for, Quirky. I mean, again, Rain is very calm about this entire situation, and in actual reality, my notes say that it started in November of 2022, and their friendship then ended May of 2023. It ended around there. And Rain is literally doing a special, or exactly what she should be doing in response to what Rosie's putting out online about her. She's just trying to defend her name, and whether she, many people might say, well, she shouldn't engage in it. But when it comes down to somebody's doxing you, somebody's getting people to come after you, having sock accounts, that kind of thing. When it comes down to all of that, you kind of have to address it because that's exactly what the authorities are going to tell you to do before they will do anything. You know what I'm saying? So if you've already taken care of that step, you can go right to the authorities and start the process of a restraining order or whatever you might need. And from past actions, it's clear that just like Amberlynn, she uses her mental illnesses as excuses instead of getting help for those mental illnesses so she can be a better person for, not only herself, but her audience on YouTube and other platforms, right?
I started making more updates again on my Planet with a Palette YouTube. The person who was attacking me, QuirkyLoveRosee, please don't respond to her on my behalf because it just will make things worse. But she's come back and she has created an entire YouTube video full of lies about me, saying a bunch of stuff that's not true, telling her side of the story, which is honestly just a bunch of garbage lies. It's so funny because, yeah, she's back. This is part of the reason why I went into a depression and sort of had to tap out of my YouTube for a while. So if I'm being honest, Rosie was pretty obsessed with me when we were friends, like wanted to be with me all the time, wanted to be hanging out in my house, wasn't comfortable with me going and hanging out with other friends without her. It was kind of an ordeal, and copying my looks and things like that. It was weird. And it's weird now because now that we're no longer friends, she seems to be obsessed with making my life more difficult. She's trying to out all these things about me, but really all she's doing is just telling a bunch of lies per usual. So, she's bringing up my kids again into it. She's just on one. She made a whole YouTube video talking about how horribly abused she was by me. She said I tried to armchair diagnose her with bipolar disorder, which is not what happened. What happened is she came to my house in what felt like a manic state. She was freaking out and screaming in my driveway, throwing things around, yelling, getting all the neighbors' attention. I was scared at one point that she might be driving erratically because she peeled into my driveway around my kid. I did ask him to leave the vicinity because he was kind of playing around the car. I just want my peace. She was acting wild around my kid. She was crying. She was screaming. She was honking the horn. She was throwing things around her car. She accidentally threw her phone out the window. She was in a bad mood and having a bad day, which I get. But her behavior was so erratic that when she went home, I told her I felt like maybe she was in a manic state. And she had told me that she had been previously diagnosed with bipolar disorder, but didn't believe it. So I was attempting to say to her that, she needed to seek therapy and that she needed to see a psychiatrist, and that just because what she was saying to me is that she thinks she was diagnosed with bipolar disorder and her family blamed everything on that, but that she didn't have bipolar disorder. She was only autistic and they didn't know the difference. And I told her that they're not mutually exclusive and that she should see a doctor. I told her that I could not diagnose her. I literally said those words. Clearly, I cannot diagnose you, but I think you need to see a doctor because something is wrong. Your behavior scared me. She's now calling me a narcissist, which is funny because she's blaming me for armchair diagnosing her, but narcissism is actually a disorder, and so she's armchair diagnosing me. The only reason that she is calling me a narcissist is because she knows that I suffered from narcissistic abuse in the past, and that it's something that really bothers me. And I think that she is calling me a narcissist in order to trigger me. She knows way too much about me personally, and that is a problem because she will use anything that she knows to create some sort of lie version of it that can do the most harm. She's a very harmful person. She is a very abusive person, and I have no problem saying that because she is still abusing me on YouTube. In fact, all of my responses about her and all of the things that I have said about her have only come up and come out because I am defending myself against her abuse. So she is still telling lies about me on YouTube. Now she's made a whole video. I think she baited me into this, if you want to know the truth, because I came back with my Planet with a Palette, and I'm trying to do a weekly update again. Someone came onto my Planet with a Palette on the part where I said, I'm taking questions for a Q&A, and said, do you know QuirkyLoveRosee? I felt like it might have been baiting me, and I shouldn't have responded. I should have just left that question hanging there so I wouldn't restart this drama that's been going on for literal months of my life. Yeah, and what I said was, we are no longer friends. She's an abusive person, or something like that, and I don't want to talk about her. Her response to this thing where she clearly had someone come bait me into talking about her was to launch an entire YouTube video. She's saying just the most absurd stuff, about the lies that I'm telling for my job, that I've been lying about my weight since I was 300 pounds. It's ridiculous. The stuff she's saying is so outlandish and ridiculous that I can't even. She's screenshotting and putting up things where I've talked about personally, fake crying during a scene. Well, I do fetish work, you guys. I am an actor. Not everything I do on camera is real. When I pretend to eat little tiny people, that's not real. I'm not actually a giant. So she's just trying to use this stuff to make me look bad. I was doing and go to all the places I was going and do, and the funny thing is she talks about revoking her consent from the content that we created together for our adult work. But the thing about it is she begged me to create that content with me. She knew I had to work that day and I didn't want to hang out because I had work to do. She was like, please, let me come over. I'll work with you. I'll do this. I'll do that. And we shot one video of us eating a meal.
later, by the way.
Yes, I will.
DM me when you're done eating.
But I have Chinese food that I try to hopefully get these customs filmed today because I am behind.
But either today or tomorrow.
Yeah. Okay, cool. I'll message you when I'm done eating. And like she literally like revoked consent later as if and now talks about how I pressured her into working and I was trying to make money off of her and like she set our friendship up so that she could make money. She set our friendship up. She literally told me and Ivy when she became friends with us that she was wanting to make money doing adult content. So she literally used both of us and both of our names to get herself out there and become popular and then revoked consent for the content we had created together. And specifically, Ivy had paid her for. It was a very expensive shoot that Ivy had spent a lot of money on, props and costumes and all this kind of stuff, and paid her talent, as she always does. And so she was paid. She was paid for content and then revoked consent when she was angry, which is that's not how it works, but okay. Cool, do you. At this point, the content's down. I don't even understand what the drama is. It was a whole ordeal. Like, the whole situation was just bad all the way around. But the fact that we're here, the fact that she baited me, or someone she knows baited me into saying something about her on YouTube by saying, hey, do you know this person? It felt funky and I should have just moved on. But you know what? I feel like I have a right to say my piece. If people are going to ask me if I know her, I'm going to say, we're not friends. She's abusive, because she is. Because look at her whole entire response to that one comment, which she clearly set up because I responded to it yesterday, y'all. And already she's got a whole video response where she's copying my hat too. It's just like, oh wow, this is just too good. I really wish she would stop. Really wish how long has it even been? Like, I haven't even talked to her at this point. We haven't been friends since like maybe a month after my wedding. So it's been 4 months. 4 months. Yes, she does need me for content because she keeps bringing me up. She likes the drama. I mean, if I'm being honest, I think the majority of the followers she has like enjoy watching the shit show, to be frank, because it's always something with her. She's always having some dramatic breakdown. 4 months. Yes, 4 months. It has been 4 months. We have no longer been friends. That's almost half a year. And she is creating an entire YouTube video about me. I have been doing adult work for 19 years, which is something that a lot of people ask me about on my YouTube channel. I'm really good at compartmentalizing that part of my life because I have to, because I have children. And I mean, I definitely ran into some drama with some people over the years. Like, you know, I've worked with so many people, so it would be impossible not to, because some people are not cool people. But I've never encountered anything like this in 19 years. Like, this is a whole new level ball game of drama. For the most part, most of my working relationships with people have been incredibly good. Most people would. And I mean, I definitely ran into some drama with some people over the years. Like, you know, I've worked with so many people, so it would be impossible not to, because some people are not cool people. But I've never encountered anything like this in 19 years. Like, this is a whole new level ball game of drama. For the most part, most of my working relationships with people have been incredibly good. Most people would be happy to work with me again. I would be happy to work with them again. Even some of the people who I've had personal fallouts with, we've actually worked together again in the future, because we don't want to be friends again, I can compartmentalize its work. But you know what? Yes, I talked about how this bothered me, how I got depressed, and how I was coming back, Adriana. And yes, she is definitely trying to keep me from having from coming back to YouTube. She's trying to cause trouble, and she is spending so much of her time, just like she did when we were friends, being completely obsessed with me and what I'm doing. And she is trying to keep me from coming back by creating more drama. Yeah, she's definitely trying to like undermine my progress of feeling better, undermine my ability to come back to YouTube. So I am not gonna let it, but I did want to address it because I cannot believe that it's been months since this, and we are back. And we are back here. Here we are. So what's the plan with her? My plan is I'm addressing it here. I'm going to leave this here, and I'm going to just leave it alone. I'm going to hope that she goes away on her own, but you know, she's not going to. What does Roman say about this? Well, they are pretty upset about the way that I've been treated by this person. Yeah, just move on with your life and focus on yourself. Ivy's the one who sent me this video this morning. It was like, well, she's back at it. And I'm like, and I skimmed the video. I couldn't even watch the whole video. No one has time or energy for that. But I knew she was definitely talking about me. The entire focus of the video is me being a horrible narcissist and an abusive person. It's not true, guys. Like, she does need to focus on her own self and move on. But I don't know that that's ever going to happen. I think as long as I am in the public eye and making content. Anyway, and by the way, we were only friends for 6 months. Like, only friends for 6 months. And this is the fallout. People like her love being the victim, attention seeking. I agree with all of this. I want to keep making YouTube videos. I'm not going to let this like bring me down or affect me too much, but it is upsetting to know that like in response to me trying to come back, she has had someone her side of the story, which is actually garbage. So I just wanted to let y'all know that that's happening.
Videos are being made about me. Screenshots are being brought up out of context. What's crazy, I saw she was talking about another YouTuber, like, come on, stop using people for views. She will do anything for attention. So several years ago, I didn't know that much about this, except that several years ago, she apparently had some internet bullies who, supposedly, but she's also calling me a bully, so who knows? She's calling me a bully while she makes an entire YouTube video bullying me. So the thing is, I want to retire from my other job. I really do. Like, 18 years is a long time. It's easy to get burned out at that job, and I am burnout. It's not that I don't like my job. It's not that I don't appreciate that I've been able to work my own schedule.
Like Rosie and Amberlynn can't even fathom how someone else can have their own boundaries. Because when theirs get overstepped, by God, the whole world's going to end.
It's a lot, like a whole lot. I want to show the cooking process. I want everybody to be able to make the food. And honestly, that's part of the fun. Like, I love cooking a lot, but it's so much more fun when I get to share it. And like, when I have the camera in there with me and I'm cooking with y'all, it kind of feels like I'm not alone. You know what I mean? So that's pretty cool. I like that. Yeah, I will never stop showing the cooking process. Candy is cooking now too, which I love, but she's not filming it. Yeah, I'm so happy for her that she's cooking again. We've been talking a lot. For a long time. We've been friends for a really long time. We actually met when we were both working in the adult industry many, many years ago, and we shot together. So there are somewhere out in the great wide web pictures of the two of us being cute together. And that is the kind of friends that I'm trying to make, not a Rosie Jean friend ever again. In fact, one of the things that I'm discussing in therapy is letting people into my life and how
Now, Rain threatens to involve the authorities. Like I said, she does have every right to. I feel so bad for Levi, Rosie's brother, because Rosie, she bosses him around too and treats him like, dirt. And he literally, does all the running for her, everything else. Like, these kind of women, they don't have any empathy for what you do for them. But if you don't do for them, they will come after you like nobody's business.
A content creator at the age of 16. That was my phone. Yeah, so the person I'm talking about, her online username is QuirkyLoveRosee. I'm just going to call them Rosie for the remainder of this video. I did not want to make this video. I'm 18 now. Primarily, it was with somebody else, and then I was just kind of dragged into it by this content creator. But recently, I found that Rosie is still lying about the situation online. So me, being me, basically left the reply being like, hey, you leaving out some core details there. And then she proceeded to say more lies about me on Twitter, the worst place ever for where all bad things happen. It's usually from Twitter. So I'm making this video to outline my story, I guess. Particularly because she blocked me. So I can't even directly talk to her about this. Listen, I would have been down to reason. Be like, hey, stop lying about me online, but she blocked me. So also, she did threaten to call the police for harassment if I continued to talk about this. But thankfully, I'm not a fucking idiot and I know my rights. Like how I know that replying to another person on Twitter is not harassment. Not personally reached out to her in any way. So, fucking call the police. Sure, Rosie. There's plenty of people who I don't like who I put up with. Like, it's fine. Until it wasn't fine. Long story short, she and my parents stopped being friends. She had like a huge crash out online. And I'm gonna use the word allegedly here because she did scrub this from the internet, but allegedly doxed my parent somewhat by posting their like private Facebook account or something, which, can obviously lead to issues and put, both them and notably their two kids in danger. Can use her recent tweet of this, but was basically lying. My parent runs a cooking show online that I help film and edit for. This is not a secret or anything new. And what I had said is that I didn't like editing the like mukbang portions because I just didn't like the sounds. That's just the thing. I don't like the sounds of people eating. I have autism. This is not some crazy conspiracy. So she went ahead and was telling people that I was editing porn as a 16-year-old, being paid to edit NSFW content. I don't like her, so why would I confide in this woman? And also, no, I just said I don't like the sounds. Well, anyways, I found that she was still lying about the situation on Twitter, so I replied in response to somebody else who was asking about it, just clearing up a few details. She crashed out, again, because that's what she does best. I don't care about your weird online drama with my parent, I just don't like that I was dragged into it, All this shit, threatening to call the police, a very dramatic reaction to me clarifying a few things and kind of taking a dig at her for, involving me in internet drama when I was a minor. And the reason I'm specifying when I was a minor, because as much as she likes to talk about how, I was being preyed on by my parent or whatever the fuck, this person puts 18 plus on all of her social media profiles. They aren't like locked, like her YouTube channel is public and stuff, obviously, but yet very clearly is like, my channel is for adults and up. So why was I being involved as a 16-year-old? That sounds a lot fucking more predatory to me than not liking the sounds of people eating. This content creator is very dramatic and kind of predatory in the sense that she was involving me on her 18 plus social media platform web drama, when I was 16 and was probably making money off of it, and it seemed important. Why?
Because all of a sudden then you're the piece of shit, right? Anyways, bitch. And then you sit there, Rosie, and you'll sit there and judge Amberlynn's way of making money, but literally, you don't have any bills. She lives in her parents' house with her brother. She doesn't have any fucking bills, but she, like, gets on her high horse and goes holier than thou, 90 miles. It's diabolical to me because she's putting Amberlynn down for being on the LCU. When you know damn well, Rosie, if you had to pay your own bills and you were in that situation, you'd be your ass on the fucking LCU too. How can you judge how anybody makes their income literally when you were in the feeder fucking community? I'm not bashing you for getting your hustle on, but at the same time, don't you dare sit there and bash someone else for their way of making an income after you shove chocolate cake into your mouth. Like, I'm not. Whatever. There's a video out there, though, of her shoving cake in her mouth, and she's dressed up like the fucking principal on Matilda. I'm just saying. Amberlynn already outed her on that, by the way, so I'm not outing anybody. When you did that to yourself, Rosie, because she decided to write to or be in an article with the Daily Mail, holding a cane like mine, saying that she needed a mobility device because of all of her issues, when literally, no, that cane was Rain's cane, and you were just borrowing it to take a picture with it. And it seems to me like you so badly want to be immobile and have to have some kind of crutch. No pun intended. You know, but literally she would make Rain feel inadequate for having to use a mobility device. But she has a little fucking walker that her audience bought her that she never or rollator she calls it, that she never fucking uses. But she had to have it. Her audience bought her office chair that she indents the kitchen floor with. By the way, my Amazon wish list is in the description below. Well, it is, but like, if you look at it, don't mind the big stuff that's on there because I have this wish list for myself too, because I should have made 2 lists where I could put the stuff that I want to buy eventually on my other list. But I do have an Amazon wish list if you ever want to buy a gal present. You know what I'm saying? Just put that out.
Is letting people into my life and how I want to be friends with everybody because that's just kind of how I am. And sometimes people are not people you should be friends with. And there were a lot of red flags right from the beginning when I started becoming friends with Rosie that I should have seen, that I did see, but I chose to ignore. Because she was very pushy about hanging out and being friends. There were several times that I tried to ramp down the friendship and be like, I don't think we should hang out as much anymore. And she got very hurt and frustrated by that. And then she would constantly push my boundaries. And it's funny because a lot of the things that she's accusing me of like pushing her boundaries and pressuring her to do things, that's all projected. That is all projection. That is not what I did to her. That is what she did to me. So like pretty much everything that she's saying about me is BS. Yeah. Thank you, Keon. That's so sweet. Yeah, so I just, she's back at it again. She's out there making content, using my name, trying to, she didn't actually use my name. She's like, I'm not going to name the person in this video. Well, but you're still showing screenshots from me and everyone knows who you're talking about. So everyone knows who you're talking about because it's the same person you've been attacking for 4 months, Rosie. Let it rest. Good Lord. QuirkyLoveRosee, I guess is what she changed her name to now. Yeah, so we've been talking about boundaries and like setting boundaries and the level of boundaries. Yeah, for sure. There were a lot of points that gave me red flags. Like when she started inviting herself everywhere, like when she started bringing her stuff over to my house and like basically wanting to be here constantly. Like when she didn't know that, hey, it's time to go home and it's already like midnight and I'm like, I have to get up with my son in the morning for school. And she's like, okay, just a few more minutes. Okay, just a few more minutes, for hours. Yeah, I mean, there is a lot of... It's weird though for her to be jealous of me and my success because she's equally as successful. I mean, her Instagram has a huge number of followers. She hasn't even been on YouTube for like barely a minute and she's already got more than half the amount of followers I do because she brought over so many people from Instagram. So I don't think she's jealous of my success so much as that she's never going to be fulfilled. She's jealous because I like myself and my life for the most part. I mean, I've had a couple of rough months, but who wouldn't when you have someone relentlessly attacking you, one. And also I've been off my meds for the past month because I missed an appointment and because there's a shortage in medication. So that hasn't helped me. But you know, I don't know. I don't know why she is still on 4 months later. I have done a lot of work on myself. It's funny because like one of my main triggers with my CPTSD is this idea that I'm not good enough. And I struggle with that a lot, more than you guys would probably even know. And then, you know, when I was going through, well, honestly, a little bit before that, I was in therapy, in trauma therapy, and I was dealing with some stuff that had happened to me that was really, really horrible. And I took a hiatus from work. And Roman popped up and was like, hey, you know, are you okay? And I was like, honestly, no, I'm not. That's why I haven't been around. And they were like, you know, I'm here if you need a friend. And we've been talking for many years, like in a adult work sort of capacity, because their situation was that they worked all the time, didn't have the time or the desire really to have personal relationships. So, you know, they would connect with me instead, a sex worker. And they were like, you know, if you need a friend, I'm more than happy to talk to you about, like, you know, and I was like, well, what I'm dealing with right now is really heavy and I just don't. And they were like, I'm here. So I really did need a friend to talk to. And we video chatted for the first time in a way that wasn't like just for, you know, with me as my alter ego. Like, this was just me, just me. This is what I'm dealing with. This is what's going on. And that first time we talked, I told them a lot of really private things, and I cried, ugly cried, because I was doing EMDR at the time, and I was like really dealing with a lot of very heavy stuff. And they opened up to me and told me a lot about their childhood and their specific traumas and stuff too, and we really like connected. And at that point, like, we became friends. EMDR, so it's like a eye movement. I don't want to say it wrong, but it's basically, it's therapy where you go through your traumatic events over and over and over again, but you do it while moving your eyes from one side to another. So my therapist specifically has these little things that you would hold in your hands and they would light up, but they would also like buzz too, and you look back and forth while you talk about your deep traumas over and over and over again. And something about the eye movement actually helps refile these memories in your brain so that you can process them in a more logical and less emotional way. It is extremely helpful for people with PTSD, but it is very hard therapy. I mean, I'm talking because you have to go through the same trauma over and over and over again, and it is intense. It's the process itself is hard. It's really hard. And I was going through EMDR at the time, and that's when I talked to my now spouse. And it's funny because I asked them, you know, a few years later, I was going somewhere with this, but it is intense. I asked them a few years later, I said, is there a time when you knew that we were going to be like a couple or something? And they said that first video chat that we ever had, that first very serious video chat that we ever had, I just felt like we connected so deeply. My childhood was extremely traumatic, and at some point I might talk about that, but it's pretty private. It's a lot. And also, there's no way for me to talk. I still do have a relationship with my mom, and there's no real way for me to talk about what happened where my mom doesn't come off looking horrible, because some of the things that she put me through were horrible. So that makes it hard too. Hang in there, y'all. Haters gonna hate. I'm talking to you, Rosie. You're still out there hating on me. And it's just like, really, bro, it's been 4 months. Can you please sit down? Calm down, Rosie. Calm down. There's nothing else left to say. We've talked about it a million times. And yeah, I'm still, if someone comes on my channel and asks me if I know you, I'm still going to say you're an abuser, because look what you're doing. You're still being abusive.
I decided to put it in the description to be an easel because of Rosie. You really, really do need help, Rosie. I mean, you're very fucking dramatic. You throw people under the bus for no fucking reason at all when you're angry at them, and that's not okay either. You had to apologize to Zachary Michael because you fucking came at him and attacked him over some Reddit shit that you fucking heard because you were mad at him. So let's make him feel like shit about his animal parenting. Bitch, you better back the fuck up on that, because one person I do know is a wonderful pet parent, and it's Zachary Michael. So slow your fucking fat rolls.
Hey y'all, so I can't believe that I'm back in this place with this situation again, but some of y'all know that I had a beef a couple years back with someone named Rosie Jean. Honestly, it went on for fucking ever. She was making all kinds of claims about me on the internet that were untrue. She was making all kinds of threats about, honestly, like, spent months trying to make my life miserable. Yes, this is about the PS with Rosie. You know, I could go on a whole thing about that. I really could. Anybody who knows me and knows the situation knows what it is. But unlike these two people who have now teamed up to attack me together years after the fact, I don't, we've done been there. Yeah, I don't want to do that. Here's what I want to do. What I want to do is say that the things that are being said about me right now on the internet are untrue. And that if anybody really followed any of these allegations that people are making about me and what kind of person I am, you're gonna come up to a dead end. But what I want to point out is that what's happening is something called Darvo. It's which I don't know if y'all have heard of this before. Yes, he's with you and your dad. Yeah, but it's basically deny, attack, reverse victim and offender, and that is what's happening. So Rosie Jean and I had a falling out, and I ended our friendship, and she went on the internet and put me on blast across the internet and was trying to make allegations about me being inappropriate with my children, like just all kinds of shit that was just like absolute utter bullshit, and trying to basically harm me in any way that she possibly could. And it was intense. For some reason, a couple months ago, I started getting some phone call or like some messages and stuff on my YouTube cooking show again about this nonsense with Rosie. People like, when are you going to apologize to Rosie for what you've done and blah, 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 blah. And I mean, I'm talking, this girl met up with one of my ex-girlfriends and they went on a podcast talking shit about me. Like she went on a literal social media tour smearing my name into the dirt. And none of it's true. Not a goddamn thing she said is true. Like, I just want this to be over. Like, that's all I've wanted this whole fucking time, is for these people to get my name out of their mouths. So recently they have been reaching out to people in my life. She was also on social media writing little messages that were like veiled threats as well. And with that song playing in the background, it's like, run little girl, run little, that fucking, little girl, bang. And her basically being like, I'm gonna make your life hell, and she did. So congratulations. Yeah, that's what's going on. They're talking shit about me again. They're coming after me again. Apparently, like, Rosie's been saying some shit about my son, who's like 18. And by the way, in addition to Rosie doxing me at that time, someone reached out to me. They found my private Facebook account because she posted it. Someone reached out to me from that and was like, I just want you to know that I found your profile from this thing that she posted publicly. What is wrong with y'all? Like, can you please move on with your fucking lives? Like, I've moved on with mine. Yeah, it was my cane in that photo. Yeah, that's how the whole beef started. Because me and Rosie, I had ended my friendship with Rosie, which she was real bent about. And then she went in this magazine and on Daily Mail and all these things where she had this big thing, and it was all talking about, it was like advocating for like her being disabled and all this stuff. Now, I just want to point out that the entire time, I actually am disabled. And the entire time we were friends, me and Rosie, I offered her, there were a few days where she was like struggling to get around, and I was like, hey, do you need me to grab an extra cane? She was like, no. She was very like ableist towards me about how she was in better shape, like mobility wise and able-bodied. And she repeatedly called herself able-bodied in front of me. And then went off and for attention, put up a picture where she was holding my cane, my mobility device. And, with this big thing about like, oh, I'm disabled. And I was just like, what? And I got upset and I called her out on it. And then she went fucking crazy, just straight up legit went bonkers. I've never seen anybody spiral out of control like that before. It was honestly terrifying. And I really hate that this is starting up all over again. Like, I do. So for the record, no, I'm not fucking stalking anyone. I tried to reach out to Rosie through, I saw that she was on a live stream a while ago, and it was fairly recently, but before all this nonsense started up again. What gets me is most people who only sometimes use mobility aids rarely post with them unless they're a disability advocacy account. Well, that's the thing, is that Rosie will do literally anything for attention. Anything at all. Like, I tried to reach out to Rosie a while ago once people started messaging me again, like, when are you going to apologize to Rosie? Never. The answer is never. I'm not going to apologize because I didn't do any fucking thing wrong. All I did was defend myself. I will never apologize to her. But I did reach out to her to try to on a live stream so that I was like, hey, can we talk? Because the thing is, I'm a reasonable person and I would just like this beef to be squashed. Do I think she's a good person? No. Do I want to be friends again? No. Do I want to, like she said in these, so when her and Mars teamed up, and all the shit they've been talking about me, which I have screenshots of because, again, someone sent them to me. And it's not like I have spies out here spying on them. It's just that we run in the same circles. And then people see things about me and they know that shit's not true. And they're like, hey, do you know this is being said about you? I don't give a fuck. I'm not spying on anybody. I don't give a shit about y'all. Like, I literally don't. So my son is like fucking done with Rosie's bullshit because she has been trying to pull him into this since the beginning. I mean, she got kicked off of Phoebe, which is like a, adult plus size site where people meet each other. She got kicked off of there for talking shit about my underage children on a site that's for over 18. This is how bad things were, that she was literally involving my kids in her insanity, and she's still doing it. She's still got my son's name on her lips. So 3 times, please stop talking about me. Y'all, please back the fuck off. I literally don't care about you. I'm not stalking you. I don't care. But I want you to quit contacting my friends and saying things about me that aren't true on the internet. I really do. I really do. And the truth is, I know, I mean, Rosie and I were not friends for that long, to be completely honest, but I've kind of changed how I am. I used to be like a very open person that would just make friends with anybody all the time. I don't trust people anymore. And it's in large part due to these 2 people that are still years later out here apparently messaging my friends and making posts about me on the internet. I'm tired of this false narrative that's being spread about me, that I'm just like this, it's funny because when people are toxic and people have abusive behaviors like this, they always tell on themselves. What they're accusing me of is the same thing that they're actually doing. And don't project your shit on me. I'm not stalking you. I don't care about you enough to stalk you. Sorry. You apparently care about me enough to be out here talking my name on the internet 2 years later. And that's your problem, not mine. Get the fuck out of here. Don't message my friends. Stop saying my name. And no one who knows me is going to believe what you're saying because it's utter bullshit and not like my character at all. It's ironic because Rosie's whole bullshit with me was just that I was being used or preyed on by working on Planet with a palette. Meanwhile, she was the one exploiting me as a 16-year-old. Let me talk about that. So, when I started Planet with a Palette, which is my cooking show on YouTube, my whole goal was to change my job. I wanted to do a cooking show instead of doing what I do for work, which is adult content. My son is now 18. And so I addressed that in the video, by the way. Okay. So I was paying him to do some editing for me of these episodes. These episodes were not adult in nature by any stretch of the imagination. It was literally me making a meal and eating the meal and talking. Like, and this is, I mean, if you follow any of the comments in my channel and stuff, like, I know that mukbang type content was very popular at the time. And so I was trying to, I had a friend who did a mukbang channel and was very successful. And so I was trying to like incorporate that, but also do my cooking. Well, when the show started to take off a bit, it really became more about cooking. Like, people didn't even really talk that much about the eating portions. And when I can see like where the people are watching, and people would always comment on my recipes and stuff. So anyways, the show is really about the cooking. Like, that's literally what the show's about. And I mean, did I lean a little bit into the whole thing of like, yeah, I'm a planet with a palate, and just like, I'm plus size. I mean, even my little quirky little intro song, it's kind of like, you know, tell the diet Karens where to go. Like, yes. But I don't think there was not ever any sort of adult nature to the show whatsoever. In fact, even when I set up like this account and other various, you know, Rain the Planet accounts or Planet with a Palette accounts, people will come in who are fans of me from other places, and I'll be like, this is not appropriate to talk about here. I very much, I've gotten very good at compartmentalizing things, partially because I do have children and I do work that's adult in nature. Rosie, when she started accusing me of things, and started trying to start this internet war with me, started trying to say that, making it sound like I was having him edit or be involved in some way in my adult content, which I would literally never, ever do. I don't, listen, like, you know, my kids are kids. Well, he's 18 now, but I'm not doing anything illegal. I'm not filming when they're at home. I don't do that kind of stuff. Like, I care very much about being a good parent, but I also have this job that affords me the ability to take, you know, make my own schedule. And like, yes, it would be super illegal. Yeah. And the thing is, I would never do that. I would never. In addition to being illegal, it's just unethical and it's wrong and it's bad parenting. And I would never do that. I'm not saying that I'm a perfect parent, but that is one line that I would never in a million years cross. So it was very, very upsetting to say this. She also tried to say that I was like basically like being a sexual predator towards her, which is ridiculous because many times throughout our friendship, she indicated that we should make content together. That's not the kind of content that I really create. And I was like, no, I don't really do that. And she still kept bringing it up. We never did anything. We were only just friends. I never approached her for anything like that. It's all lies. And I really don't like that. Like, it is one thing to lie about somebody and try to drive them across the internet, but making claims that literally could get their children taken away from them if they were believed, which they won't be because there's no evidence of any of that because it's not happening. She's a predator and projects it onto everyone else because she's nuts. That's the thing, is like, she's constantly a victim in every situation. At some point, you gotta wonder. When we were friends, there was a day that she was like, hey, I'm coming over. And when she pulled into my driveway, she was like driving erratically, and kind of like swung into my driveway really fast and was like, and started screaming at the top of her lungs when she parked. I was like, what the fuck is going on? And I literally told Arthur, like, because we were coming back from a walk, and I was like, Arthur, go inside, like, because I wasn't even sure what was happening. And I come over, she had dropped her phone, and she's like screaming and hitting the wheel and like just having like a full-blown meltdown in my driveway and being really erratic. And it honestly, it was like, whoa. Like, oh, okay. And when she went back home, because it was really something. When she went back home, I was trying to be a good friend to her, and I was like, hey, listen, what I just saw looked like a manic episode to me. Like, you know, my mom has been diagnosed with bipolar. I've seen this my whole life. So I was like, that's what it looked like to me. And I feel like, you know, you should reach out and get some help. She was very mad at me at first. And then she was like, okay, I get that you're just being a good friend or whatever. But as soon as she was like talking shit about me again, she was like saying that I'm like a narcissist because I was accusing her of mental illness and trying to gaslight her into thinking that she was mentally ill. No, that's not what happened at all. I would not do that. Like, if she was mentally sound, we wouldn't still be having this problem 2 years later. But I would never do that. But her behavior was very erratic and not well. And I mean, even if you watch her videos now, from my understanding, I mean, I don't, like I said, I saw she was on a live stream and I was like, hey, but can we talk? Because I just really would like to squash this, but it's pretty clear that that's not going to happen. So, I mean, from my understanding, even now, like, she's having mental health issues. Listen, I have mental health issues too. I have PTSD. I'm in therapy every week, like clockwork. Like, I'm working on myself. And I really want the kind of friends and to be around the kind of people who are also working on themselves, because, like, that's important, like, doing the work and being the best version of you. And I really just wanted that for her because there was a time when I actually cared about her and her well-being. So I definitely wasn't trying to, like, gaslight her into thinking she was crazy. That's, no. But they're out here lying about me on the internet again. So that's what's going on. People are going to say what they're going to say, and the people who believe them are unfortunately just being, like, manipulated. The people who actually know me, or actually know either one of them, can figure out the truth on their own, I'm pretty sure. So, with that said, that's why I popped on here today. I just wanted to clear the air that someone is being attacked. All right, well, I hope you'll have a good day. I will have a much better day.
But anyways, like I said, she used the cane to make content. Wait, though, until I tell you guys about, she kicked someone out of her stream just for being in the live stream chat of one of her ops. Now, mind you, this person wasn't right in what they did, emailing her. But if she would have looked, everybody in that chat that day that she yelled at this person for being in was defending Rosie because of what this person was doing. His name is Cam. He did some awful shit to Rosie, and nobody agreed with it. See, as an audience, Rosie, we will be there for you when it's logical. We won't, though, when you act like a fucking ass. And 9 times out of 10, that's what you're doing. She literally baited Rain. She fell for it. So Rosie made an entire video about this because Rosie decided to have a sock account go in the comments of one of Rain's videos and ask, do you know who QuirkyLoveRosee is? Rain fell for the bait and said, yes, but I'm not talking to her because she was abusive towards me. That's all she said, but that's all it took. That's all it took. And QuirkyLoveRosee started this bullshit all right back up again this year. It was actually in 2025. And she still brings it up to this day. It's fucking, this bitch will hold a grudge until she loses weight, and that's never. That's never. So, as soon as the chat stops talking about her or to her, she gets all fucking nasty and abusive. Amberlynn was the same way. You guys are attention whores. But Rain's son is also a very smart young man, just like Rain seems to be. So that's awesome to see. He didn't come on raging and screaming and hollering and using curse words. He was very upfront about the situation, but also very informative, which I thought was nice to see from him. He seems like a really well-rounded young man. Good job, Rain. But Rosie, like I said, she can't help but play the victim. She's dramatic as hell, very abusive. But most train wreck narcissists are pretty gross. You know what I'm saying? Like Gypsy Rose Blanchard, Amberlynn Reed, Foodie Beauty, that kind of thing. But Rosie actually even got kicked off the feeder site, Phoebe, because she decided to show Rain, or to talk about Rain's son when he was underage on there. Like literally bringing it to the fetish website. Rose, what the fuck are you doing? And he was underage at that time. What are you doing? Rosie, it's just wild. Even going as far as to say that Rain's son, like I said, was editing her adult content, which is so disgusting. Rain's son finally got a job, a full-time job. He stopped editing for her. He didn't need her to pay him anymore. It was just simply to help him out and help Rain out at the same time. Nothing bad about it at all. But Rosie had to turn that narrative and try to make Rain out to be this nasty, disgusting piece of shit, vile mother. Only, Rosie, that's probably going to be you when you become a mother, if you ever do. Because how dare you? I know I would I'd go IRL, bitch. You gaslight yourself and your audience with mental health accusations and all this bullshit, excuses, trying to say that, I did nothing wrong when you literally did. It's just... it's endless with you girls. It really, truly is. And this is just one conflict that I found that we could talk about with her, so you guys could kind of get a feel for who she truly is. And trust me, there's many more to go over. This is just the tip of the iceberg. All right? So come back to class next week, and I will show you more. We will do another class of Quirky next week. The next Gore World 101, though, is going to be about who? Nothing more than Amberlynn. We got to talk about it. We got to talk about that bitch for a little bit. I love you guys. I will see you guys in the next video. If you liked today's video, please subscribe. Please like. Please hype. And become a member today. Yes, bitch. Yes, bitch. I love you guys. I'll talk to you later.